And welcome everybody to episode 22 of Comic Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you the week's comic-related news, views, and reviews. I'm your host, Troy, and with me as always, the man who practically had to drag me kicking and screaming to the cinemas to watch the movie that we are reviewing this week, Kade.
How you doing?
Good, man.
You hated that movie, didn't you?
Look, we'll get into it. But look, I did not have the best time of my life at the cinemas. That's for sure. But, but look, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
All right, save it.
Save it.
Save it.
Save the rage. What else has been happening this week? I'll tell you what's been happening, actually.
Okay.
About 50 million people have been cast in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh my God, is this going to be the busiest movie ever made?
I think it's getting to the point where they are literally, if there is a background character, you know, like 30 meters into the background of a scene, that doesn't even, it's like might be wearing a baseball cap. It's like John Smith cast as baseball cap wearing guy.
Yeah, that's it.
In Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
I know people are excited, but I think we should probably stop talking about Spider-Man
maybe
castings.
just pump the brakes a little bit on that.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
It's getting a little bit out of hand. Good to know that absolutely everyone in Hollywood has a job right now, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is good. Good for them. Biggest, exciting, most amazing thing, I guess, to ever happen to us ever.
Ever?
It's a bit of a stretch, but the Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition is available to view right now.
On iTunes.
Yes. Have we seen it yet? No.
No, not yet. Not at all.
Will we see it? Yes. And we're going to talk about it next week, I think. I just made that up.
Just put me on the bloody spot there.
We will potentially talk about this next week once Kate and I decide what's actually
in the
happening.
upcoming weeks after that.
Yeah.
Sometime in the future.
We will definitely talk about Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition. I am very excited to watch it.
Yeah.
It's been getting a lot of good like reviews, feedback. Still a lot of people out there that still hate the movie.
You're always going to have haters.
They dead set hate it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Look, it's not going to be for everybody. Not a lot of people were happy with Zack Snyder's take on the whole thing. But apparently a lot of people have changed their tune after seeing this.
Very good. That's good.
I'm very keen. Just got to find 3 hours where I can sit on my couch.
Yeah, that'll be the hardest part of your week.
Yeah. Let's say thank you to a few people.
Okay, let's bloody do it.
Let's bloody do it, mate. Thanks to everybody who listens and subscribes and reviews. We love you, as I say every week, but we do. It's actually true.
Yeah, it's true. We even gave the last 4 people who gave us reviews shout-outs on Facebook.
Yeah, so thank you, whoever you were.
Yeah.
Because, man...
It helps the show.
It helps the show. We're trying to give the love back where we can.
Everywhere we can.
And make sure you follow us on Facebook at Comic Confidential Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod. Some exciting news. 2 years.
2 years in the making.
2 years in the making. YouTube is here. Kind of.
We are slowly uploading previous episodes onto the channel. So if you want to go back and have a look at that, subscribe. Get onto the notification squad.
Yeah, is that a thing?
It's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you can get notifications whenever we post a video on there.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Turn notifications on, son.
Go do it now.
Now, go.
Yeah. You done it? Awesome.
Good. Nice.
And don't forget, we also got a website, comicconpod.com, and the Patreon. If you want to support the show, jump onto patreon.com/comicconpod.
Exactly.
Oh, and we also got a loot crate. In the show notes.
So have a look in the show notes. We've got everything. There's link to our website, link to Loot Crate, link to Kasplat Comics, links to...
bloody everything you want.
Link from Zelda.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's it. Let's talk some news, man.
Let's talk some news. Now, this is the biggest news of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Rumors of Marvel and Fox. They're interested in working with each other.
Yes. Make that happen, someone.
Yeah, well, Matt Key, he's the producer of Fat Man on Batman. Yeah. And he said, and I'm quoting, "I've heard from a few sources, my little birds, that Fox and Marvel have kind of talked, but not really. But there's some interest from Fox, like, what they did with that Spider-Man and Sony thing was actually pretty cool. Like, maybe So
So did he actually hear anything, or was somebody just rambling about some random stuff?
he could be doing the ultimate troll at the moment.
Ooh, imagine that.
Yeah.
But imagine if it came to fruition.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be awesome. We'd have X-Men in Infinity Wars.
That's what needs to happen.
That would be the coolest thing. Not just Wolverine.
Yeah.
Bring them all.
Yeah.
Bring them all in.
Oh shit, so good.
But I think, like, when you look at things like, you know, potentially the ramifications are massive. Like, it's actually something that we could talk about for the longest time. But we are time poor, I guess.
Yeah.
So we won't. But think about like like you've got Fantastic Four. That could actually get the reboot it deserves if they work together properly. Plenty of things that would be absolutely amazing.
That's it. And it's just every storyline is up for grabs then.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
You'll get stories that you could never get before.
That's the biggest thing. That's that's what makes it so cool. Is there should, and realistically, I mean, if these people were smart, well, I'm not saying they're not smart, but if they were smart, they would do it, because I mean, they'd get together and they'd just mash it up and they'd just go, let's just go hell for leather.
Yeah.
And let's just release all the best shit. Because people would go crazy and they would spend stupid amounts of money.
That's right.
I would spend ridiculous amounts of money to see some of the things that they would be able to do.
Well, that's right. And, you know, there's going to be a day where comic book movies aren't the cool thing to go see anymore.
No, they won't.
No.
You're crazy, man.
I'm crazy, right? No, but seriously, this could just fuel the fire. Make it burn for a lot longer.
Yeah. It'll definitely give it some legs, that's for sure. It's just the possibilities, man, are just endless.
It's going to be... They have to do it, you know. I never thought Sony and Marvel would jump on board together.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine a little while ago, and I mean about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And she was saying, oh, do you think they'll ever cross over? I was like, never.
Never.
Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Now I look like a fucking dickhead.
Don't you?
Yes.
Well, let's hope you can look like a dickhead again, and Fox and Marvel do the same thing.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing.
That's the dream.
So speaking of, we'll stick with the Marvel thing. Official release date for Civil War on Blu-ray and DVD, if DVDs still exist. I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Do they?
Do they?
Shit, I don't know.
No, I'm sure that you can still buy a DVD. Yeah, September the 13th. That's pretty exciting.
That is.
I always look forward to these sorts of things. You get a lot of behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's the best part about it.
Yeah, all the special features and whatnot. But most importantly, I don't like to illegally download things.
Not in Australia.
No, but
the largest pirating capital of the world.
Yeah, what? I'm not a part of that.
No.
No, but you know, I don't like to. I loved Civil War. I
So-
thought it was great.
Support the movie.
Yeah, so support it. You know, go out and buy it, but watch it in the best possible quality available.
Oh, man.
That's what I like to get into, man. Like, that's why I will wait until it comes out before, because it just ruins it.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there, with someone fucking, I don't know, standing up in front of the thing or coughing or
Coughing and laughing.
popcorn and I got that on my actual, when I went there and watched it, that was happening.
Yeah.
So, I don't want that sort of shit. September the 13th, Civil War is out on Blu-ray and possibly DVD. Who
And
knows?
DVD, yeah.
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc.
Yep.
What the fuck is a Laserdisc?
I don't know.
Man.
Just showing my age.
Yeah, you are showing your age. We got some Harry Potter news.
Is it? Yeah, I guess. Kind of Harry Potter news.
Yeah, Draco Malfoy, a.k.a. Tom Felton, has joined the cast of CW's The Flash for next season.
Yeah, so Muggle named Tom Felton.
Yep.
So apparently been cast as a fellow CSI, who basically, I don't know, just thinks there's more to Barry than, just the nice guy sort of image that he portrays.
Yeah.
Not going to be like a bad guy or anything like that. I guess trying to break that mold of, Draco Malfoy or whatever.
You would hope so, hey?
Well, but that's actually a really, when you think about it and you think about how popular those movies were and all that sort of stuff, that's a massive cast for The Flash.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the Flash always gets great actors.
Yeah.
All the time.
They do. They've got a pretty good track record with it. But let's see what happens.
Yeah.
More casting news. Now this is it's going to sound like it's nothing, but it's actually potentially really cool because they've cast Carly Pope as the role of reporter Susan Williams. And now it doesn't sound like a big deal. I'm sorry if I didn't say it's for Arrow. I don't know if I actually mentioned that.
No,
by the
I don't
way.
think you
Arrow
did.
season 5, Carly Pope as reporter Susan Williams. This character in the comic books happens to be Hal Jordan's sister-in-law.
Yeah.
So when you think about the little hints that we've had in bits and pieces of these shows,
Yeah, that's right.
they're, you know,
It's
and
adding up.
and the fact that there is no Green Lantern movie, nobody actually owns the rights or anything as of yet.
Is that true?
I think so.
Really?
Take my word for it.
Take your word
no,
for
well,
it?
look, there's
Because it's not on the schedule till 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So there is every potential that they could bring that character in, Hal Jordan anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the Green Lantern, but they could bring the character of Hal Jordan and
Build from that.
build from that, I guess.
Yeah.
There's
That'd be fucking awesome.
I don't know whether they will, but who knows?
You know, I've heard a lot of talk that it could be happening, especially with the Justice Society happening on Legends of Tomorrow. But
Yeah.
they're thinking classic
Oh, yeah.
Green Lantern.
Yeah,
So it might not be Hal Jordan.
who knows?
Yeah.
I would like to see it. I mean, you know, what have we got? 4 years until we get a chance to see another Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
And we know nothing about it as of right now. Absolutely nothing.
Well, you know, we're getting a TV Superman. Why can't we get a TV Green Lantern?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Make it happen.
Yeah, just make it happen, someone. I'm actually surprised that they made that happen.
Yeah.
But
that
it
was
is-
actually a big surprise.
Yeah, but it is good. But yeah, you're right. If they can do that, why not give us a TV Green Lantern and then, 4 years, give us another movie one?
Yeah.
Right?
Bloody make it happen.
Make it happen, someone.
I'm looking at you, Stephen Amell.
Yeah, he's the guy to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, from everything that I've heard so far, though, like Arrow is a show that we cover on the show. Everything that I'm hearing so far about season 5 is shaping up to be fairly good, though.
Yeah, well, because you can't get any fucking worse than the last season.
Well, yeah, true, but but it just seems, I don't know, everything that I hear, it's going to be a lot more grounded. It's going to be a lot more action. Less focus on like
The magic. Yeah.
and hopefully the relationships and all that sort of stuff. And there doesn't have to not be relationships. It's just we don't have to have a situation where we're focusing on, oh, look, there's a female. Oh, look, she's like now going out with Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens apparently.
Every time.
Every time. But yeah, it sounds good. Last season of flashbacks, who knows?
Yeah.
Give it a chance. Comes back in October.
Give it its last bloody shot.
Oh, are you going that far, are you?
Oh, we'll find out. All right. All right, so we got our final bit of news is also some casting news. And it's actually really surprising.
Yes, very surprising.
Yes, we might be getting Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense to me as to why they would go down this route. I also don't think that, like, if it does happen, I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the right format for a Ghost Rider character.
It's the tone's wrong for
Yeah, the
it.
tone is well and truly wrong. Now, it's a bit of a stretch how the news has come about and how they're trying to bring it back to Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
But essentially, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Comic-Con promo, there's been a promo bus that's been rolling around, and it's got, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that, and then there's fiery chains. Now, a lot of people, based on that and a little bit of casting news, are speculating that it's going to be Ghost Rider. Me, myself, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's promoting Hellfire from the last
that's what
season.
I thought. Yeah.
I mean, the guy, like, literally used a flaming chain to kill Lash.
In the last scene that you see him, yeah.
So, that's kind of where my mind went.
Yeah.
Other people, maybe more intelligent people than myself, started thinking Ghost Rider. But it's the actual, the casting announcement from, just checking my notes, TV Line. So apparently TV Line have reported that Season 4 is going to cast a pair of Latino brothers, one of whom is always the most dangerous person in the room, the other paralyzed in a wheelchair. So basically they've come out and they've said that description rings very, very close to the description of Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes and his handicapped younger brother Gabe.
Right.
So it could also be anything else.
Could be.
And they could be doing it to kind of, maybe like troll, I guess,
Yeah.
in the sense of, this is, let's make them think that this is happening.
Yep.
And then it's just going to be some dude with a handicapped brother.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
And
who knows?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, if they do it, I don't know how they're going to work it.
Yeah, I think if they do it, we'll probably just get the character Robbie Reyes. I don't think we'll ever actually get a Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I would love to see like a Ghost Rider Netflix series.
That would be awesome.
Or something like that. Like, that's where I think it belongs.
Yep.
But, I could say that about anything. Just give it a Netflix series,
True.
But that, on top of the casting for life model decoys, which is where they're probably going to like head for the most part for the show, could be pretty interesting for season 4. Let's see what happens.
We'll see.
We will see. Damn it.
And that's going to bring us to the weekly wrap, the segment where we wrap up all the week's TV action, starting off this week with Preacher, South Will Rise.
Will it?
Isn't it The South Will Rise?
No.
No?
No. I don't make mistakes when I write notes, mate.
Pretty sure you do.
No, it's definitely South Will Rise.
Anyway, Jesse runs wild with his power, Tulip and Cassidy hook up, and Odin Kunkanen meets some environmentalists.
Meets? Get it? Meets?
Mate, your jokes are the worst, and I'm not reading them out.
Oh, whatever, mate. I try. Anyway, firstly, let's congratulate Preacher and everybody involved for being renewed for a second season already.
Yeah, that's good.
That is pretty good. What are we, 5 episodes in? And they've decided that they like it?
Yep.
That's really good. Outcast got renewed for a second season before it even premiered, so you can't really beat that.
Fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, I think it's really good. I think I like where the show is going, and I think for us to have a second season and know that people are appreciating it, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Let's talk about the actual show.
Yeah, what'd you think of the open this week?
Yeah, so a little bit more of a backstory on the Saint of Killers. I actually, I thought that we were almost going to wrap up the whole thing and would get to the point where, we'd see him effectively become the Saint of Killers.
Yep.
But they didn't, and that's fine. So obviously they're going to keep dragging it out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I almost thought this episode was almost going to be based all around that just from that opening, because I think it went for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, it went for quite some time, and that's why I thought, okay, maybe this is where we're focusing. So we go back to Ratwater, and we see effectively. I think the reason why he is pushed into becoming who he becomes. I won't really talk too much more about it because I don't want to spoil anything for people that haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But effectively, shit is about to go down. I'll say that.
Oh, cool.
Shit's about to go down in old school Ratwater.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it looks like shit's going down in new school.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just never stops.
It doesn't
Shit never
stop.
stops going down in friggin' Ratwater / Anvil, Texas.
Well, when your city's called Ratwater, what can you really expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what happened this week?
Donnie the dickhead.
Donnie the dickhead.
He's basically the first guy to figure out that Preacher's got some power.
Yeah. Depending on, what he does with it, who knows?
Yeah.
It actually, I think with this character, it's kind of, he's a bit of a shithead. And that you're not really supposed to like the guy.
Yeah.
But you kind of feel a little bit bad for him, because he kind of realizes that, it was completely out of his control.
Yeah.
And when he comes to the realization that Preacher has a power, he's very distraught and all that sort of stuff. I think it's his wife that's going to fuck shit up, if I can say that.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Well, you saw how she was. She was very much in charge. She's very much like the dominant one of the relationship.
Which is really interesting when you consider that the first episode, it seems like he's beating her.
Yeah.
And she seems quite helpless.
Yeah, but then you find out that she's actually into it.
Yeah.
But now you kind of find out that maybe she's the one that's actually like pushing it.
Yeah.
It's like Donnie didn't want to go to work or anything like that. And it's kind of like, you need to get up and get your shit together. Otherwise, I'm going to go and bang that dude from accounting. So it's like, well, all right, I guess I'll go to work then.
Yeah, that's terrible motivation.
Yeah, but
that's not healthy for a relationship.
Well, it's not. But I mean, if it gets the guy to work, it gets you don't want to run out of sick leave. But I think that's where this will go. Like she will be the one that will push some action between Donnie and Jesse.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's where it'll go. Whatever.
Yeah,
Just
whatever.
my opinion.
I really like the Angels this week.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. So basically, like the phone's been ringing for God knows how long.
God knows?
God knows. Well, God would know because it's probably him calling. Well, it's someone from heaven. And basically we get this whole really funny piece of DeBlanc trying to teach Fior how, like, the best way to answer the phone. And so it's like, they like you. You're the nice one, all that sort of stuff. And then, he finally gets it right and he finally builds up the courage and then he heads there and it's like, oh, shit, the phone stopped.
It stopped, yeah.
As you'd expect.
And the way it plays off, it seems like that phone's been ringing for hours. They're trying to get their shit together.
Yeah.
And once they do...
It's gone into the next day.
Yeah.
Like, well and truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a good 24 hours of phone ringing where they're just trying to back and forth just trying to get... hello.
Imagine being in that room next to him.
Yeah, you'd be pretty pissed off.
You'd be
Doesn't look like
angry.
it's the nicest hotel. Maybe people are probably used to it.
Yeah, maybe.
But they, so that happens, and then they finally approach Jesse, and they kind of just let it all out. I think this is where it starts to get interesting because they start to Jesse has always assumed that the power that he has is just a gift from God.
Yeah,
and they kind of make him question that.
Which is good, because us as the audience, well, me as a non-comic book reader of this story,
show,
I don't know where it's from.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of, it's really hard to talk without, like, giving things away. Like, and I know we had a Preacher special, and I think I actually probably spoiled everything.
Yeah, but
in the
I
Preacher
forgot
special,
everything.
I've also forgotten everything that I spoke about. But in this, it's very much a what, like, they ask him the question directly. What makes you think it's a gift from God? So it could be anything.
Yeah.
So who knows what it is except for me and everyone else who's read the comics. but we don't know if that's the way they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you bloody go.
There you go. But it looks like, he's pretty much just going to go about blatantly using his powers like he spent the whole episode doing, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially with Arseface, this showed it off really well.
Yeah.
I don't know the story there, but it sounds like he's accidentally killed someone.
No, well, the girl that's in the coma.
Yeah.
Right? So, what I think it is, and I don't know, like I'm kind of speculating, but what I think it is because, she's calling him a murderer and all that sort of stuff. So I think it might be a suicide pact.
Oh, right.
Kind of thing that has gone wrong and neither of them actually died.
Yeah.
And that's why, when you saw him, I think it was in episode 3 or something, and he was at the church and there were the old guys there and they were calling him a murderer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like, I think that's where it's headed.
Right.
Like they might have, because he came out of it okay-ish in the sense that he's alive and, can talk and, walk around and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're sort of, very much, you're the guy that sort of caused this.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, because, it's... They can't use the story that it's based on in the comics because it's no longer relevant. It wouldn't really make any sense.
Okay, yeah.
But this might be where they're taking it. So to me, it seems like it was a bit of a suicide pact that went wrong. Everybody blames Arseface. The whole point that I'm trying to get to is that this is one of the times where you see Preacher use his powers. Kind of like pretty much, it's kind of like he just assumes that what he says, is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's all going to come back and it's all going to be pretty terrible in the end because people are going to take it literally. So, it's like move away, like step away from the truck and it's like forgive him, serve God. And like when he's in the diner for ages talking to everybody, it's just he's solving every problem with be patient and like all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
Every single one of these, let me tell you, every single one of these is going to turn around and come back.
Well, yeah, especially the one where he had the two parents there consulting in him about their child.
Yeah.
And he basically says to both of them, do what you think is right.
Yeah.
So I see something terrible happening there.
Yeah, so they're both, they're both going to take the literal interpretation of that. And yeah, shit's going to go down.
Yes. Hey, what about Tulip and Cassidy hooking up?
Yeah.
That I did not see coming.
No, me neither. The only reason I can really think as to why it would have happened, because she obviously instigated the whole thing and all that sort of stuff. There's two things that I think. One is that she's trying to recruit him. Because, she's after this Carlos guy. Carlos? Pretty sure his name's Carlos. So she's after this guy that, ruined hers and Jesse's lives or whatever.
Yeah.
Jesse doesn't want to be involved. She now knows that Cassidy's a vampire. She might want to recruit him to finally get rid of this guy out of her life. So she's like, this is the best way that I know to get this guy on my side.
Yeah, right. But she really didn't look like she was enjoying it.
No, not at all.
So,
and that's kind of why, it was kind of like a means to an end sort of thing.
Be interesting to see where that plays off.
Yeah, well, the only other thing I can really think of is that it's a way to kind of get Jesse out of this whole, I guess what she would call a mess that he's in the sense of, she wants him to snap out of it and forget about this whole God thing and just come back with her and let's, be like we used to be and let's, we'll get rid of this guy and we'll just go live this life that we used to live.
Yeah, that's right.
So kind of like, if you remember where she was telling the story about the Komodo dragon. Where Jesse obviously got quite upset that another man was kind of looking at her or touching her or whatever. That he shot a Komodo dragon in the face, which is, what you do.
So out of context.
But, whatever. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's like, here's me, having sex with another dude. Maybe this is enough to shake him out of it and turn him back to the old Jesse.
Yeah, possibly, because she did mention that they were boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's her just talking shit or if that's just from way back.
From way back. I just don't think she's gotten over it yet.
There you go.
Yeah. But, they're the only two things I can really think of as to why she might be doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is very much out of character.
Yeah.
But we will see, as we will
see.
always do. And what else happened?
Oda and Quincannon.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, he's gone in the deep end.
Yeah, you could say that. I didn't really understand it.
Either did I.
I guess to put it into context, he agrees to meet with the mayor and bring in some environmentalists to help further the town.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then he just goes on a bit of a rampage and just shoots them all with a shotgun.
Yeah. I don't understand why you want to kill some environmentalists.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this his way of, serving God, as Jesse kind of made him say? Is this his literal interpretation of it in the sense of what God is he serving? Because remember, he was effectively a godless man.
Yeah, that's right.
So what God does a godless man serve, or what vision or interpretation of God? Is it the is he going crazy Old Testament? Is it another completely different God altogether? Does he think himself to be God?
Yep.
And so he knows what's best? Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's going to play out next week's episode, actually. It's going to be quite good. You want to give this episode a rating?
Do you? You rate it.
Okay.
What do you think?
I thought it was quite good, this episode.
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Very straightforward.
Yes.
I also really liked it as well. I really like where it's headed insofar as now it seems to be. I think I had a problem with the pacing last week. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I said it was a bit slow.
Yeah.
This definitely moved on for me. Quite a bit happened in it, and I hope that's the way we're going to go. 4.25.
4.25.
4.25.
Staying alive. There you go. Preacher will return next week with Sundowner.
Indeed.
And that's going to take us to Outcast, A Wrath Unseen.
Yeah, or Wrath.
Wrath.
Depending where you're from.
Yeah.
I say Wrath. Tomato, tomato.
Wrath.
Look.
And that's the synopsis for this week's episode.
Yeah, so we'll wrap that up. Excellent. Look.
What do you rate it?
I guess for me, there wasn't a lot that actually happened in this episode.
Well, this episode was, creepy guy comes into town, bothers a family, the man of the family, who's a cop, does the stupidest shit he could ever fucking do. The end.
The end. Yeah, pretty much. There was very little in actual supernatural action in this episode.
Yep.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing week in, week out. It's just, yes, I understand why we focused on this so much. This whole Donnie. Another Donnie. There you go. 2 Donnies in the 2 shows that we're reviewing. That's weird. Anyway, but he comes into town, and obviously there's this whole backstory with Megan. Did it require an almost entire episode?
Fuck no.
Probably not. But it's to character build.
But to character build who? These second-rate characters in this show? I barely care about the friggin' main characters in this show. This is what they need to focus on, not this couple, this family.
Yeah. Well, maybe they are much bigger players in the grand scheme of things. Maybe like they're again, we're 4 episodes in, so maybe they're looked at as minor sort of side characters at the moment, but maybe they play a massive part. I mean, that there is a very, very strong relationship between Kyle and Megan. Like, that's obvious, and they've spoken about it and all that sort of stuff. So that there's a very strong relationship with them. But ultimately for me, if we're going to talk about the episode as a whole, I got to the end of it and I'm like, okay, so now I have to talk about this, but I don't actually know what happened, because to me there was literally nothing.
No,
there wasn't a lot.
Well, there's one thing out of this episode which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and
it's the only little bit of light in this shitty show.
Yeah,
was the fact that this episode showed that not all people who are possessed are against it, basically.
Yeah, like they actually like it.
Yeah, this older woman's like, it's rejuvenated her almost, you know?
Yeah, she got into it. Mildred, I believe her name is.
Oh, there you go.
I guess, like, my biggest problem with the whole thing, though, is it's kind of like... Again, we have discovered absolutely nothing. Like, nothing. It's another situation where they've walked into a house. Okay, so we've discovered that maybe. Okay, so Reverend Anderson kind of, he's come to the realization that all the work that he has done previously probably meant shit.
Yes,
effectively. So that's something we got out of this. He's finally come to the realization that all these past exorcisms and all that sort of stuff that he's done previously obviously means shit, because everything, like every single person that he's done is still possessed.
Yeah, but this guy has a rough job, man.
He does. And with it, though, what we get is the same thing from Kyle that we've had in every episode so far without us moving forward at all.
Yeah.
It's like, meet said person, touch said person, realize that, that they've still got a demon in them. And then it's kind of like, oh, we should now like fully really exorcise them. Oh, but no, we can't. And it's just like, what's happened? What is happening?
This show is, it's just wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
It's nothing, man. It's just shit.
No, look, I'm not going to go as far as to say it's shit, because I actually enjoy it. I think the show is pretty good. I just don't...
You've had 2 episodes back to back that you don't like.
No, it's not... There are plenty of things that are good. And I think, like, if we're going to talk about it, I think when you look at the storyline as a whole, with the whole Megan and Mark thing, while it wasn't necessary, it was well done. The character development was good, and we do get to know like a little bit more about Megan and her backstory and all that sort of stuff. Mark has done something that will obviously lead to massive ramifications later on down the track. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Did he kill Donnie? Like, did he just like beat the living shit out of him? Who knows? Apart from the fact that it's on his, cop dash cam.
Yeah.
Which,
mate,
just turn it off.
Dumbest
honestly.
cop ever. And I noticed earlier in the episode he was drinking while on duty.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
But, he was obviously stressed.
There's no excuse for alcohol abuse.
That's true. So you made me lose my point. What was my point?
I don't know, mate. You're just saying the show shit. So.
No, I was saying there was some good stuff. So there's that, and there's the whole side story with the Chief Giles.
Oh yeah, find out old mate his neighbor.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it lets us know that how far does this thing stretch? It's like every person or every second person just about seems to be possessed or whatever it is that they are.
Stretches. Here, I can tell you how far it stretches. It stretches further than my interest in it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, fine. That's fine. If that's, I'll say one thing about it that I did really enjoy. I think what this show does well is, this episode in particular, was, even though nothing actually eventuated in the end, it builds suspense really well. And I think it does it, it did it really well in this particular episode with the use of weird camera angles. We had the use of props, I guess, in the sense of Reverend Anderson's little trophies that he gets. What are you staring at me for?
Hey, I'm looking at you like
I'm not trying to stretch. I'm not trying to stretch to find something.
Troy the stretcher.
They had some genuinely good camera angles that actually, okay, so there was one where it was I don't even know if I'm going to bother talking anymore because now I'm going to sound stupid because what I'm going to say is it's like a downward shot of I can't even remember who it was, but they were at a door and there was a crow and the camera was kind of behind the crow and now I just seem like an idiot.
Oh, mate, let's move on. What do you rate it?
Okay. I'll give it. You don't even want to talk about anything the Man in Black. You don't want to talk about he did make an appearance in this.
Oh yeah, he said goodbye, old friend, and I'm here to clean up his affairs. Fucking great storytelling.
All right, fine. We'll move on. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and that sounds high. I know you're looking at me with raised eyebrows. That sounds high, but I actually do enjoy the show. I just don't know how to talk about it when it's done because I don't know what's happened.
All right. I'm giving this a 1. This is just fucking terrible.
All right, but we're going to stick it out.
Well, I'll stick it out.
Look, I can tell that you just want to dump this show, but we are going to stick it out because I'm enjoying it. I think it's good. I want to see some stuff happen.
There's been one episode. What's this? The fourth one? Or
that was episode 4.
Yeah, I've enjoyed one episode out of 4.
That's 25% of the episodes. That's fairly, if you had a show that had been going for 10 seasons.
If you're a betting man, would you put a bet on that? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, look, anyway, we're going to continue on with it next week when it returns. Oh, did you rate it? Oh, yeah, you gave it a 1.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I can't believe it's been 20 years. Still gonna take your father to the anniversary?
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
On this day in 1996, the world escaped the clutches of extinction.
Your father was the bravest man I've ever seen. We all lost someone we love.
But in their sacrifice, we found the technology to build a stronger and safer Earth. Because our survival is only possible when we stand together.
Well, look, we've heard a lot of talk recently about how bad Independence Day Resurgence is. So we took to the cinemas to go and check it out for ourselves because, as we always say...
Fuck a critic.
Fuck a critic, indeed. That said, they were fucking right, weren't they?
To an extent.
To an extent. Look, I thought the movie was terrible. You didn't mind it so much.
No, I thought it was probably a couple of points better than what you think it would be.
Yeah, maybe. But look, either way... We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the pros, cons, some financial news, Easter eggs, give it a rating, as we always do. It's what we do.
What we bloody do.
It's what we bloody do, regardless of how bloody terrible the movie is. Okay, so let's talk about some financial news.
Yeah, so it had a budget of $165 million.
Yeah.
Which, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal for a movie of this caliber.
Yeah, I think all of it went to green screens. I think they spent $165 million on green screens and then nothing else.
I would have said quite the opposite.
Whatever. Well, yeah, well, okay, yeah, that's fair. Fair point.
Well, the movie's pulled in 168 million worldwide in a week of release.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. And 40 million of that was on the opening weekend.
So nothing amazing, but it's not terrible. I guess with this, though, I don't think this is going to have the legs to get much more than that.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
you're probably right.
This is going to be one of those movies that people are they're gonna watch initially, and then they're gonna start, like, other people will start reading stuff about, how bad it is and all that sort of stuff, and then people will actually stop going to the movies. They might even actually start burning cinemas down, just to stop other people from watching it.
Well, I think one of the things that's really hurt this movie is the other movies that are being released around it.
Yeah,
it's got Finding Dory.
Yeah,
it's got World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
It's also got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And a lot of these movies are all very family-centric movies.
Yeah.
And family don't really have the money to go and waste on movies.
Well, yeah, I guess. So, I guess if you had, kids, you're not going to go to take them to see Independence Day Resurgence.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to go take them to see Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. But do yourself a favor. Don't take your kids to see this damn movie. Anyway, I've said enough. Let's move on. So we'll start talking about... So how do you want to do it? As we always do, I'll talk pros. You want to break it down like that?
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
You
I'll go
start off.
pros. You go pros. You go cons. I'll go cons.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Mine'll be quick. And done. No. Look. My pros. Look, there were some, and I mean some of the action scenes were pretty cool. The green screening effectively killed my soul. But I feel like the initial destruction, when it actually starts to happen, of Hong Kong, London, the East Coast was, it was that good old over-the-top disaster movie fun.
Yeah.
Which we love. Everybody loves that. I liked Jeff Goldblum's line, about the aliens always, liking to get the landmarks right before it destroys Tower Bridge in London, all that sort of stuff. The one thing, and I guess I should be putting this in a con, but this is how this is going to go for me, because I guarantee I'm going to talk about pros. I'm going to think about something that shit me to tears.
Backhanded compliments here.
Yeah, well, yeah. Basically, this is what it's going to be, because we see all these things being destroyed right throughout the world, and then the ship finally comes to the White House,
it
just grinds to a halt, just hits the White House, and the flag on top just topples over.
Yeah,
and I'm like, give me a fucking break. Anyway, moving on. Some of the firefights were cool. The aliens themselves looked a lot better than they did 20 years ago, as you would fucking hope.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did. They looked at, and I also like the idea that we have used their tech to better ourselves as a world.
Yep.
While I don't believe for a second it would ever happen, I don't believe that our governments would ever get their hands on this fantastic technology and go, you know what? Let's build a peaceful planet. Let's build a peaceful planet.
You really don't think that would happen if an alien invasion happened? You don't think the world would work together?
I don't think the world could work together. Call me a cynic, if you will, but I don't think the governments of the world, they'd be fighting over who got control of the best technology, for sure.
Afterwards?
Afterwards, what?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. I see what you going here.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Keep going, mate.
Anyway. You've made me lose my point. Brent Spiner, the old man in black from Outcast that you hate. He was in this movie. Pretty much the only person in the movie who made any attempt to kind of inject some life into their character. I love Jeff Goldblum, right? But to me, it was Brent Spiner that actually, what's the character's name? Brackish Oaken. I had to look at my notes.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, Dr. Brackish Oaken, he steals the show for me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the next guy.
Oh,
the actual scene stealer. And I'm going to absolutely butcher his real name. And I do apologize to the actor in advance. Diobia Opere. I hope that's how it's said. Diobia Opere, his African warlord, Dikembe Mbutu. Oh, man, I should just give up now.
Mate.
But my point is that this is, he was the kind of on-screen badass that you want in your movie. If you're going to fight off alien invaders, why not? Bring him into it. But, this guy understood their language. He knew how to kill them. had these badass tattoos, like celebrating what seemed to be more than 50 kills.
Is that just a number you made
No,
up?
like you saw it on his arm. There was a shit ton.
Yeah.
There was at least 10 lots of 5, which is 50. Anyway, and he had machetes, which is cool as shit. They made a whole movie about a person who wields machetes called Machete.
And that movie is amazing.
It is amazing. And this guy has machetes, so that's cool. Now, this is a character, when you think about it, when you actually break it down and think about it, who, with very limited screen time, effectively saves the fucking day because of his knowledge on everything. Think about it. He's the guy who broke down the language and helped the other lady discover that it's not that the symbol that they were looking at isn't fear, it's enemy. And so that led them to understanding that there was the other technology out there that they were afraid of, right? He's also the guy that knew how to kill them, right? And how do they kill the main thing at the end? They kill it by shooting it in the back, because this guy spent the whole movie saying, you've got to kill him in the back.
I'll get to your point about that.
Okay.
In my cons.
Really?
Yeah, mate.
Okay. Whatever. But anyway, because of that and because of his general ability to fuck shit up, that guy gets character of the movie easily. I actually did like that guy. And the whole thing, like that actually, like the way they introduce him to the movie, it actually has what would have like realistically been a much better sequel if they had have like, it's the storyline sounds cool as shit, because they're basically stating that there was a 10-year war fought in the African desert between like alien and tribesmen.
Yeah.
With the African tribesmen, like with the warlord Umbutu, his dad, and his son's kind of winning in the end.
It is pretty cool.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Think about it for a second. It is like fucking dead set African desert version of Predator. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, make that movie happen. That would have been a cool movie.
So,
I'm trying to find pros.
Yeah. Fuck, you are stretching.
I am trying to find... Just let me throw this thing down. I'm trying to find pros.
Yeah.
Right? So, bear with me. But I think that would be a cool-ass movie. African desert setting Predator. And I guess, if there was anything else, I did enjoy my popcorn. Frozen raspberry drink was nice. And the end credits were good. So,
Mate, you're a wanker and you're not giving this movie enough bloody justice.
Why should I? Yeah, this is from the guy who, got angry at me because I wanted to have a little bit more heart in a friggin' Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
This is all this movie was heart.
What?
It's the world coming together to fight the alien onslaught again, Troy. This movie is nothing but hard. I thought you'd be pulling your dick over this.
You wait until I get to my cons, mate, because I will tell you why there is absolutely no heart/substance in this movie whatsoever. But let's talk about your pros.
Okay.
Get into it then. Fine.
Oh, I bloody will. So, I thought the main action sequences in this movie are fantastic. You're getting some really good bang for buck. And that's about it for you. Yeah.
That's all that anyone could ask for. A bit of bang for your buck.
And that's what this movie is. It's just a bit of silly bit of fun, really.
Yeah, popcorn cinema.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't go into this movie thinking it's going to win a bloody Oscar or anything like that. This movie, it really had all the razzle-dazzle of the first movie that you love. And I guess that's why I liked it so much.
Yep.
I agree with you. I love how in this movie, we're using the alien tech to better our own world. In particularly very large television screens.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Bit of a waste.
Well,
I like the idea of how they had the base on the moon.
Yeah.
That was quite cool.
You know what's cool?
What?
Nazis having a base on the moon, like in the movie Iron Sky. That is cool. That's cool moon-based movie. This.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Right.
But, I don't think their safety measures are really up to scale.
No.
Like, that thing, they had this huge, what is it, laser?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of balancing.
Yeah, I think it might have had some clamps. But there is very, very limited workplace health and safety on the moon.
The main base where everyone lives and resides,
Yeah,
it's like right underneath that.
Think about that for a second. Because if you actually had a situation where you had one fucking laser on the moon,
Yeah.
right? And then you had that laser on the moon because you wanted to defend, like that's your first line of defense, should anything come to attack, right?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you put your base of people right next to the one thing that is obviously going to get shot at and attacked should aliens come?
Exactly.
There is a lot of fucking moon. You can have them. It doesn't have to be... Is it connected by a cord? Do they have to be like within extension cord distance? Is that why they have to be so close?
They've got to be bloody close to the moon milk.
What is moon milk?
Didn't you see in the movie they had some moon milk?
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
I thought it was just some random like Chinese soy.
Nah, mate, it's moon milk.
All right. That's the thing. Where do you get that from? Where does moon milk come from?
From fucking moon cows.
Anyway.
I thought the dogfights were just as awesome as the first movie.
Yeah.
You know,
it's 20 years later, Kate.
Yeah, but it's still good. You know, I don't think you could really have a bad alien / jet fighter scene.
Well, true.
You know, it could be done 20 years ago, like you said, or today. It's always going to look bloody awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The aliens, they looked a lot more polished this time, and so they bloody should.
Yep.
However, they didn't get as much screen time as I thought they should have.
Yeah.
You know, you only see maybe the legs or a head. You don't get to see...
Tentacles flapping around.
Yeah, tentacles flapping
like,
around. That's really about it. I like how we got introduced to another alien race.
Do you, though?
Yeah, well, it's good. What I thought of when I first saw that was the sphere.
Yeah.
Looks like the head of the press robot in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That's all I thought of.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Marvin.
It's Marvin, is that it? Yeah. The mothership.
Yep.
One thing that was really good about that is it had an ecosystem that could support them inside it.
That's so cool.
Well, it's good. It's a really good thought.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'll give you that.
And it seemed like the aliens are a little bit more warrior-based onto the ground.
Yeah.
Which is... Do you think that's because of the firefights that they were having?
Well, I think
Africa?
Yeah, I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that... Well, I mean... We're to assume, I guess, at some point that this is a race of aliens pretty much bent on, like, taking over planets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well,
aren't we?
Well, yeah, well, what they do is they go around to each planet and they steal the molten core to power their ships.
Yeah. So, you know, because that's something that I friggin' totally understood. So I think I missed that whole thing because I think I asked you at some point. I'm like, why?
Oh, yes, you did.
Why are they digging to the Earth's core?
You're not paying attention, mate.
Well, I was on my phone.
Yeah, you were. You were tweeting more than you were watching this movie.
That's true. Yeah, no, look. What else you got?
Yeah?
You got more?
I thought it was quite good that there's multiple motherships out there, and it seems like we might be taking the battle to them because of these other aliens.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's implied that this Earth is kind of done.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they drilled within
30 seconds.
30 seconds of the Earth's core, I'm pretty sure the pressure in this Earth's core would just bust through.
I don't know how, like, I can't work out the math. So I don't know the depth of 30 seconds worth of alien ship drilling.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep that is. It could be quite deep. It could be enough to be fine. My problem, as I already told you, I think like after it finished, is, you know, kind of how is this a situation where if they're that close, you know, they kill the mother alien and just all of a sudden, just within a split second, everyone's just like, oh, well, you know what, just fucking stop drilling.
Yeah.
It's like you're 30 seconds towards your goal. 30 seconds more and you're just going to give up. That's like, I can't even think of an analogy. It's like...
We get you. We get you.
All right.
You know what I thought was quite interesting, though, is how these guys who were drunk on this scavenging ship...
research vessel or whatever it is.
They had the technology to be able to see where these aliens were drilling.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's just fish sonar. What else is it? All they had, you saw it. All they had was like an infrared camera and like That's it, like a sonar.
Yeah, mate, I don't bloody know.
I'm pretty sure that's all they had.
I'm sure there's a few inconsistencies in this movie.
No.
Believe it or not.
All right.
Anyway,
Is
do you want to get onto some cons? Because you're
mate.
salivinating at this.
I am itching.
You're itching. You're
Itching
itching
to
for a
talk about some
bitchin'.
cons. But I will let you go first.
Okay. The main problem with this movie is that it is bursting at the seams with characters.
Yep.
And nearly everyone gets a bum deal because of it.
Yeah.
You know, we get some really messy scenes, some absolutely terrible dialogue, and super cliche characters. Everyone is just as cliche as it can get.
Yep.
You know, if the director isn't willing to spend the time building a character, of course they're going to be fucking one-dimensional.
Yeah.
The acting in this movie really needs to be addressed if they are going to make a third one. Because this movie looks like it's obviously set up to make a trilogy.
I will quit. I will rage quit life. If I will Control Alt Delete myself out of life if they make a third movie.
Really?
Yeah. I can't be on this planet. How do I get off this planet if they're going to make an Independence Day 3 stupid generic fucking space battle?
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I feel you. The non-Thor Hemsworth.
Yep.
He's just obviously here to look pretty and be the love interest of
That one chick.
that one chick.
That one chick that's in it.
Yeah.
What is that kid's name? Liam.
Is it Liam?
Liam Hemsworth.
He's bloody going out with that
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
Yep.
Oh, mate, get away from her.
She might be a really nice person. You don't know.
Yeah, she could be.
Don't judge.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Miley.
You're going to keep...
Yeah, I am. Will Smith. He's not in this movie, but his son is.
Yeah.
I don't mind it,
Yeah.
but his whole story is just cliche.
Yeah.
Cliche.
Yep.
You know, my dad died and now I'm the most celebrated fucking war
Yeah,
pilot
why?
going. Yeah, why? Why
Are you actually good at your job? Or is it just, you're so celebrated because your dad died?
Yeah.
And your dad was a superhero.
Exactly. Was he really a superhero?
You know what I mean? A superhero.
Yeah.
Not like an actual superhero, but he was like a very big hero.
Yes, he's half the reason everyone died.
Yeah.
Not only this, but his mum, who was a stripper in the first movie,
Yeah.
is now a doctor, and it looks like she might be like the main doctor of this hospital.
Yeah.
And look, I understand it's been 20 years
Yeah.
after the first movie, and they probably needed more doctors in the world.
Yeah, sure. But, I think I made the comment that she might have been, and I don't know if they touched on this in the first movie, but she could have been a stripper to pay for her medical school.
That could have been.
She might have been paying her way through medical school, and that's why she was on the pole. What?
Nothing.
That's what they'd call it, I think.
And she's only in this to force the worst death scene cry I've ever heard.
Death scene cry.
Yeah. How old mate's just in his little fighter jet. No. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
It was really bad, man.
Yeah, it was.
The thing that I probably hated about this movie the most, though,
Yeah.
well, there's a couple of things.
Yeah.
But this was pretty high, is that everyone was almost comic relief.
Yeah.
Nearly every character.
Yeah.
Everyone was trying to just throw funny lines into it. You don't need it. You don't need it at all.
Look, I'm happy to have a comic relief in
Yeah.
the movie. Like I think action movies do well with it.
Well, just look at Spider-Man in Civil War.
Yeah.
That was done perfectly.
Yeah. But I think the problem is the director is not known for his comedic touch, and I think that really showed.
Absolutely.
The delivery was just the delivery and the placing of said comic moments were not only terrible, but they were also so cliched. It was like you knew that somebody was about to say something stupid.
Yeah.
Which is,
And every time, it just makes it really unenjoyable to watch when it's like that.
Yeah.
I agree with you that you kind of touched on a little bit earlier about the backstory of the ground war in Africa.
Yeah.
That would have been a much more interesting story.
Yeah.
The fact that maybe the aliens are losing this battle and they call in another mothership, that would have been great.
Yeah, let's do that.
And, that could have played into a third movie.
Yes.
fucking wasted opportunity.
Wasted.
Absolutely wasted. Just, of course, a whole bunch of movie coincidences. Goldblum's dad driving a fucking bus on the salt plains that just happened to be the same.
Oh my god! Don't get me started.
The same place that this giant alien pops out.
Like, I know.
Like the same place out of everywhere in the world. You're in a bus full of school children, and then you see your son, and you're like, "That's my bloody son."
Hey, kid.
And then he's trying to. Jeff Goldblum is trying to kill this giant alien, and the dad's there going, "Oh, what are you doing with this shit, you little fucking dickhead?"
Yeah, look, man, I don't even you can't get me started on this stuff. I will never stop.
All right, okay. I just have a couple of things left.
Okay.
The green screen was fucking terrible in this movie.
Yeah,
I think there were scenes that, there was shot next to a bus,
Yeah,
and the bus was green screened in.
yeah.
You had this bus in earlier scenes.
Yeah, I was there, man. I saw it.
I know. They've obviously gone back for reshoots. They couldn't get the same bus, so they just photoshopped it in or something. But it looked fucking terrible.
How do you not get a fucking yellow school bus?
I know. The budget must have been running really bloody low.
I don't know. I think that's probably a very good point. I think at some point they've gone, holy shit, we have spent way too much money.
Yeah.
And now we need to go back and do all this stuff, but we've got absolutely no money for it. So we're going to have to green screen the shit out of this thing.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't see little green edges around the people.
Oh, man. It was that bad.
It was that bad in some scenes. It was just absolutely terrible.
I reckon they only had a budget left for white sheets and a little bit of green paint.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get proper green screens.
Yep.
And they were just brushing green paint onto white sheets and just trying to hang them up in the background with some pegs.
Yeah, no, probably.
Because it was fucking awful.
The only thing that I was thinking, maybe why the backgrounds were looking so terrible, was to maybe make it pop a little bit more in 3D.
Yeah, but if you think about one of the bigger scenes where that really stands out is where Bill Pullman is giving his second big speech.
Yeah.
Right when he's saying, I'm the one that's going to go and die, I'm the hero, whatever, blah, blah, blah. When he's giving that speech, there is no need for any sort of 3D pop or anything like that. It's just guys standing around. But it is guys standing around in front of the worst fucking green screen I've seen in my life.
Yep.
And if what you're saying is right, if they did it in to make it the forefront pop for 3D, that's unnecessary.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
section right there is unnecessary. I get it for action. The action scenes actually looked good, which is I think they've spent all their money on that.
I was just about to say that because you have a look at when that main mothership's coming down, and like you said, it's ripping up all those capital cities and dropping them down. It looks fucking perfect.
Yeah,
but you get scenes like this, and it looks just like fucking dog shit.
Yeah, tacky as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the final scenes, they've just killed this big fucking alien.
Yep,
I've got two things to say about this actually.
Okay.
Chris,
I'm not going to stop you, man. You can go forever.
Non-Thor Hemsworth.
Non-Thor, yeah.
How did he fucking know the back of this alien was a weak point? Because he never, ever had any contact with that warlord.
Yeah.
Unless it was just common knowledge that the back of these aliens is a weak point.
Well, maybe it's something that they spoke about off camera, and it's just one of those things that we're supposed to let slide.
Yeah, maybe.
It's it happens all the time in movies where they're kind of well, how the hell did you know that? Or how did that guy reload his gun?
Yeah.
But it's just something that happens off camera, and you just accept it as fact.
Yeah.
Maybe that's that. Who knows?
And the worst thing to this movie was one of the parts, the big alien's dead. There's this kid, he's standing there, he's looking shocked, and the green screen is so fucking bad, he's not even looking at the alien looking shocked.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Done. Period.
Doesn't that sum up the movie for you? They didn't even give a shit. The director, Roland Emmerich, I'm going to call his name out multiple times because I want people to know that this guy is a shit director. But, doesn't that, he didn't have, the whether it's the time or the money or the care factor or whatever it is to look at something like that, to go back and go, all right, maybe we should fix that up.
Well, and I agree with you on this. I think I said this to you right after the movie. I said, this needed to be directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah.
If Michael Bay made this movie, you get the best fucking Independence Day.
Yeah.
You'll still have a shitty story.
Well, yeah.
But you won't care. You'll have the Transformers effect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a very good point. Because, Michael Bay is not a great director of people and emotion and things like that. But as far as action goes, the guy knows his shit.
Yeah.
And he's got that name as well, in the sense that people are going to throw money at it if it's
That's
hey,
right.
I've got this fucking idea. I'm Michael Bay, and I got this idea. We're going to go 20 years from Independence Day, the original, and we're going to bring the fucking aliens back, and there's going to be some shit happening, and the ship's going to look like a fucking transformer, and fucking Megan Fox is going to be in it, and all this sort of stuff is going to happen, and people will go, holy shit, Michael Bay, let's make that fucking movie.
Yep.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. Because it's my turn. Look, you have covered off quite a few points, which is good. I might touch on them a little bit more as I go. For me, I think one of the most telling signs for me with this movie, and knowing that it was going to be bad, was the fact that, and I didn't know this at the time, I found this afterwards.
Okay.
But they weren't pre-screening this movie for critics.
You're joking.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they actually so they made it like they refused, well, whether they refused or like however Hollywood happens, I don't know. But they did not pre-screen this movie for critics. Do you know why? Because critics would have seen it and gone, this is the fucking worst movie I've ever seen in my life, as they did. And they will say, and then people won't go. People won't go to the cinemas.
Yeah.
There are some of us, that go, as we do, fuck a critic and all that sort of stuff. Like, we'll go see it for ourselves. But a lot of people actually take that critic score on, Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic or whatever, they take it seriously. And it's like, well, fucking, I'm not going to waste my money.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's money that you got to spend. You got to go spend your hard-earned money.
That's right. We just spoke about it earlier.
Yeah, to watch this terrible, terrible shit. Terrible shit.
Terrible.
So that's the first thing. Secondly, I think, and I'm surprised you didn't talk about this, because this was like a point that you made quite quickly to us having finished watching the movie.
Yeah.
Was the blatant pandering to the Chinese market.
Fuck. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. It's kind of like, they've gone into this knowing that this movie is not going to be great and it's not going to be received well. So let's do whatever we can to corner the Chinese market.
That's right,
Because
yeah.
we know that if we nail it there, right, we're going to make bank no matter what.
That's right. And, there was a scene in the movie and it zoomed up on this one guy. He has to be famous in China, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And, for starters, okay, where does Hong Kong come from? It's weird, like that they just bring it out of nowhere. But then it's kind of like, okay, so they've got these 7 freedom fighters or whatever they are. These are the main guys. And Will Smith's son is the guy from America and all that. And there's like 6 other countries represented. Was there?
Who are the other? who are the other 4 countries?
Yeah, because you
Exactly.
never see any other person other than the main dude, Will Smith's kid, and the Chinese lady.
That's right.
Whose name I can't remember. So it's very much like we're going to have this. The whole thing, like the whole thing was very much. This seems to be like an American and Chinese. The whole moon base operation seemed to be very much, it was a combined effort of the Americans and the Chinese.
That's right.
Never once actually mentioned that was happening.
But very heavily implied.
Heavily implied.
Yeah.
And, it's fine because, like, what do you call it? Firefly, fantastic show. Very much built around the same premise that the 2 superpowers get together, and that's what happens, and that's same sort of thing. Okay, fine. America and China, they get together, they save the world or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's never spoken about. It just seems to be heavily marketed towards the Chinese market, without actually explaining away why.
Yep.
So I can only be led to believe that they are trying to basically get the Chinese money.
Yeah.
Okay. Will Smith. Will Smith is not in this movie. You spoke about it.
Yep.
His son is in this movie. And that's fine, right? That is absolutely fine. My problem is they have painted Will Smith, his character, to be the savior of the world, right? The absolute the guy that is the hero of America. This is this guy, right? Are you with me? Like, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm with
like
you.
How they built his character up.
Yeah.
Only to be brushed aside with a very, very, oh yeah, he died in a test flight.
Yeah.
You sort of hear it once. And other than that, and a painting on the wall,
Yeah.
and a photograph that you see a bit later, that's the only real reference to the character. And I think it's just very, very shitty writing. It's obvious they couldn't get Will Smith back on this project. Because if they could have, let me tell you, they would have. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is absolutely no way they make this movie without Will Smith unless Will Smith has said, I don't want to do this movie.
Yeah.
Right? So what they've then done is they've taken this massive character that they say, was the savior of the world, and they've created this fuck of a story where it's just like, oh, and that happened, and he's dead now. So let's not ever talk about him again.
That's right.
Yet you do. All the time. And you mentioned like how great he was.
Yeah.
But, just brushed under the table.
It's just a throwback. I actually think there was more shown about him in the trailers than there was in this actual movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it shows that his test flight blows up and there's all this a ceremony about him.
Yeah.
It's not in the movie.
None of it.
It's just a painting, like you said.
Yeah. So to me, that's kind of like, that's very, very shitty writing.
Yes.
It's just a very much okay, we couldn't get Will Smith in the movie, so let's just brush this under the table. Yet we want to focus the whole thing on how good he was, yet we're actually not going to give him any due credit whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then you're right. You're like, and then it brings in Will Smith Jr.'s mum, who is still in the movie and does make a comeback, Robin Givens. And yeah, so she's gone from stripper to head in charge of a major hospital, but none of it fucking matters because 30 seconds later she's dead.
Yes.
Right? And, it's just, there is no point. Like, no point.
Yeah.
The guy already lost his father. Like, we understand there's tragedy. Like, the kid has tragedy. He has something already driving him to be the best and all that sort of stuff. It's like, why have that whole fucking scene, just to show his mum just die?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then it just brings about, as you said, the worst death cry that you've ever heard in your life. Because the kid... Man, I'll get to the acting. Don't you fucking worry. But the kid was fucking terrible. So I have that as well. So the first 30 minutes of this movie, honestly, was some of the longest in my life. It's just an endless introduction of new and old characters who we are sort of like, some who we know.
Yep.
And we're supposed to care about. But they are so lacking in any sort of character, like actual character or emotion, that you just don't care, ever. And this is like, these are some of the biggest characters from the first movie. Bill Pullman comes back.
Yep.
Jeff Goldblum comes back. Judd Hirsch, Jeff Goldblum's dad comes back.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, Brent Spiner as well, like, had a much more minor role in the first one than this one. But it's kind of like, you bring these guys back together, but there is no sense of bringing them back together. Like, it's just, oh, look, there's that guy, and there's that guy, and there's that guy. And there's that really old dude that died. And there's like, all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, man, come on. Like, make it actually mean something.
That's
like,
right.
This is like the coolest shit. This is 20 years after the first Independence Day. And we're getting essentially getting the band back together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, who gives a shit?
That's right.
So the acting. The acting.
Is that enough said?
Yeah,
right there, almost.
I probably don't have to say much more. But the Liam Hemsworth is nothing more than handsome generic main guy. Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch, man, and these guys are great actors, and I love Jeff Goldblum. But they just don't. They look like they don't know whether they're coming or going in this movie. Like, they genuinely look lost.
Man, Jeff Goldblum was literally all over the planet.
Yeah.
In this
Literally. He was everywhere. But, so was his acting. Judd Hirsch, and I swear this happened. I swear to God. This is towards the end, and I think it's where Jeff Goldblum, kisses that generic chick that, that he met somewhere at one point or some shit, whatever. That they introduced for whatever reason, I don't know.
Yep.
I swear to God, when Judd Hirsch spoke to her, he had a French accent. And I don't know if he meant to do it like as part of like a bit of a, tongue-in-cheek because there was a little bit of a romantic moment going, or if he actually just forgot what fucking movie he was in.
It could have been tongue-in-cheek because she was French.
Was she, though?
Yes.
I thought she was South African.
No, she was French.
When did they say that? She never sounded French at all, ever. She sounded like she was South African. When they first introduced her, I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense that she's there because she's South African and, she's covering this African war or whatever, this warlord. But, French accent out of nowhere. Like, it was just the weirdest thing because I like, there was no delivery.
Yeah.
It was just, here's a weird French accent.
Right, there you go.
So if you've seen the movie, tell me if I'm right.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, I'd like to know. So it's right towards the end when everything's happened and Jeff Goldblum's kissing this girl, and it's like, then Judd Hirsch says something in French. Bill Pullman. Fuck you, Bill Pullman. Because Bill Pullman, he was probably, one of the stars of the original. He was the guy who like basically gave that big fucking speech, and everyone was just like, yeah, fuck yeah, Bill Pullman's giving a speech.
Yeah.
And, everyone decided that they wanted to save the world and all that sort of stuff, right? This guy's had some decent movies, but this ranks as one of his all-time worst, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Look, his second speech about victory at all costs, we were talking about it before in front of like the world's biggest green screen. Like that was fucking borderline embarrassing. I genuinely waited for his inevitable sacrifice because you knew it was coming at some point.
You knew it as soon as you saw he was in the movie.
Yeah, and I waited for it with glee because it meant that at some point Bill Pullman was going to die.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to see Bill Pullman dying on screen the entire time anymore.
Yeah.
Celia Ward is the new president, whatever her name is. Hack. Jesse T. Usher is Baby Will Smith. Hack.
Oh, fucking terrible.
Any of the two guys put there as obvious, but ultimately fucking just shitty, incompetent comic reliefs. Hacks. Maika Monroe as the generic handsome guy's generic love interest. She was okay.
Yeah, actually, she wasn't too bad.
She wasn't too bad. She didn't really have a lot to do, but she was okay. Anyway.
Apart from the fact I hated how they had to constantly remind us throughout that whole movie that she used to be a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
Every time she was on the scene.
We get it.
Oh, you're the fighter pilot, aren't you?
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
You said it 40 times already. I'll speed it up a bit because I could go on forever. This movie had literally fucking every fucking movie cliche in the world ever, including someone going back to save the fucking dog. That is in every fucking movie you have ever seen about a disaster, and they fucking threw it in this one as well. Somebody had to go back and save a fucking dog. Ultimately, what lets this film down, though, is fucking cheesy dialogue, an incoherent plot, some genuinely cringeworthy green screening, and poor direction from the new master of terrible fucking lifeless movies. I said his name before, Roland Emmerich. That's right.
You think he's on board for a Razzie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. If Fantastic Four can just win a Razzie, then this movie can fucking win a Razzie.
Oh, he's
for
got
sure.
it.
He's going to win all the Razzies. Brett Ratner used to be this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is now like, he's taken over. There's a new king in town. This guy wouldn't be able to direct a ham and cheese toasty to ham and cheese it up. That is how shit this guy is. Anyway, look, the whole thing with this movie, you said there was heart. I completely disagree. Like, we're supposed to love this movie. We loved the first one. We waited 20 years for a sequel. What we were given is nothing more than just a colorful spectacle. Like popcorn cinema that makes you want to throw your popcorn at the friggin' cinema because it's terrible. It's 2 hours of nonsense, absolutely no meaning, and the movie it's so bad that you can't even like get the guilty pleasure of watching a really bad movie, like say you do
a Transformers.
Yeah, like a Transformers, or worse, like a Sharknado, or something like that, where it's like, okay, this movie's shit. It's called Sharknado, but fuck, it's funny. I love it. All you get is you're just a bit dead inside. And then they throw at you right at the end the threat of a fucking sequel.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, thank you.
All right.
You can take that sequel and shove it up your ass, Ronald Emmerich.
Wow. That's a vein popping out of your forehead, mate.
Yep.
Jesus.
Okay, so I guess...
You want to wrap this up?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Give it a rating and just a little bit of a brief overview as to why.
All right. I'm I'm going to give this movie a 50 out of 100.
Right.
And that's well below average.
Haven't you said that 50 is like average for
70.
you? Oh, 70 is your average?
Mate,
okay.
Get your head together.
Whatever.
Now, this is a A-grade movie written by B-grade people.
Yep.
And that's what's let this down.
Okay.
And that's it.
I agree.
This movie could have been something fantastic. It could have really opened up... Well, it tried to open up this universe, and I'm still excited about it. If they make a sequel, I will see it.
Really?
Yeah, I will.
We're not going to fucking talk about it.
Yes, we fucking are. But it's going to be in 20 years, so...
Well, yeah, okay. That's fair.
And, well, that's all I can really say. The movie didn't get the treatment it deserved. It needed a better director.
Yep.
That's what's let it down. It had no direction. That's all I can say.
Okay. For me, a 40.
Yeah.
40 out of 100. I get it at some points. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to create this... They're trying to create, like, what is essentially an alien invasion disaster movie. And disaster movies can be fun, but ultimately what you get with a disaster movie is you get a lot of big on-screen disasters, and then you get a little bit of, like, actual character action in the background. What they've tried to do with this one is they've tried to give us the big on-screen disaster wrapped up in a very, very neat sort of little frame, and then they've tried to build character drama around it, and they've failed miserably because the director doesn't know shit about directing people to actually like act like human beings. The actors didn't seem like they wanted to act like human beings, and it was just ultimately what we're left with is just like a lifeless movie that is colorful on screen, that has some occasional bits of like, oh, that was kind of cool, but for the most part you're left, kind of dead inside, and wishing that you could go to Roland Emmerich's house and just get your $20 back.
Yeah, no, that's a fair call. And we watched this movie together, and we looked at each other more often than not, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
like I had to wrap this up because I could literally talk about it forever about how bad it is and the shit that they did wrong. But yeah, we did. There were multiple times where we kind of just like looked at each other as if like, did that just actually happen on screen?
Yeah,
like come on now. You're not fooling anybody. So ultimately, for me, a massive, massive letdown of what should have been a very good sequel to a very good movie.
Yeah, it could have been the action movie of the year.
Yeah.
That wasn't comic book related.
Yeah, yeah.
So, missed opportunity. I gave it 50. You gave it 40. Worst movie of the year.
Yep.
And that means it's time for our final segment. Get to know your favorite hero, brought to you by Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. For all your pop culture needs, head to kasplatcomics.com.au or visit their Facebook page, Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. Check them out. We'll leave a link in our show notes, as we always do.
As we always do. We got a lot of show notes now, don't we?
Let's get in there.
A lot of links. There's a lot of stuff to check out. That's why.
Yeah, we like to supply.
We like to supply. So this week, since we're talking about all things extraterrestrial, we're going to bring you two of the best comic book story arcs about alien invasions known to humankind. If you have any other suggestions, though, let us know, because it's a topic that I actually think is pretty cool.
It is.
It is. Starting off with...
Number 2.
Number 2 is the Justice League of America New World Order. So kicking off the all-new 1997 Justice League of America title, spanning 4 issues and written by the legendary Grant Morrison, New World Order sees the arrival of the Hyperclan, aliens apparently out to be the saviors of humankind. Of course, not all is as it seems, and while Superman is defeated in battle and the Martian Manhunter has switched sides, it's up to Batman to reveal the true identity of the Hyperclan and set about their ultimate defeat. The storyline not only introduced the world to the White Martians, it was also the first time since the 1980s that the JLA's most popular roster of heroes were back together as one team.
Number 1.
Number 1 is the Galactus trilogy, so spanning Fantastic Four number 48 to 50, and written by the legends themselves, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who also provided the artwork. The Galactus trilogy is probably the penultimate work regarding comic book alien invasions. So the 3 comics, The Coming of Galactus, If This Be Doomsday, and The Startling Saga of the Silver Surfer, pit Marvel's most beloved Fantastic family against incredible new interstellar threats, the World Eater Galactus, and his herald, the Silver Surfer. Honestly, what else do I really need to say? It's created by Lee and Kirby, starring the Fantastic Four and introducing the classic characters of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. It's no wonder this trilogy takes the number 1 spot, and the story is actually pretty good too. So there you have it.
There you bloody have it.
There you have it. Get into it.
Get it into you.
And that's pretty much going to do it for another episode,
Yes.
isn't it? Stay tuned next week as we talk unannounced.
Unannounced. Let us know if you want us to talk Batman vs Superman. Is it the Ultimate Cut, Ultimate Edition?
Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, whatever it's bloody called. Let us know if you want us to talk about that, or we can just come up with something else.
Yeah, I'm interested in talking about it if my vote counts.
Mate, you've done enough bloody talking for 2 weeks.
Whatever. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to listeners, subscribers, reviewers, everybody that interacts with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Comic Confidential Podcast. Instagram and Twitter is Comic Con Pod. YouTube. What's YouTube?
I think it's just YouTube/Comic Con Pod.
You think?
Mate, I don't bloody know.
You set it up.
Hey, anyway, we've also got a website. That's comicconpod.com. Check out the Patreon, which is patreon.com/comicconpod. If you want to support the show,
Yes.
listen to more of Troy's stupidly long ramblings about Independence Day.
I could have gone on for much longer, let me tell you.
You need to check yourself.
If we had no time limit, I'd be sitting here tomorrow morning, still like half asleep, sort of mumbling about how shit that movie was. Yes, so that is happening. Smallville is also something that's happening.
Yes, we're still working on the Smallville podcast. Just a reminder that we are going to drop all of season 1 in one go.
Yes.
So have a look at iTunes. It's actually pretty cheap to get the first season on there.
Yeah.
I think it's only like $15 or $20, depending where you're from.
Yeah.
So if you're keen to listen to that,
If you don't already have it on DVD.
which I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So if you don't already have it, get it, watch it, and then listen to what we have to say.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
It is.
Anyway, thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
And I'm Kade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. Fucking stupid ass movie.
Fuck off, mate.